Hello and welcome to this week's staff brief. I'm Paul Robinson, I'm the Chief Executive here at the Trust, and with me today I've got Vicky Malia, who'll give us an update on the staff survey, Corinne Kitchen, our Deputy People Wellbeing Lead, who'll talk to us around Talk Money and Stress Awareness Week, and Robyn Goddard, a specialist speech and language therapist, who'll talk about IDDSI, I'm well informed now, thanks to Robyn, is International Dysphagia Diet Standardisation Initiative. And that's clear why we call it IDDSI. Okay, thank you for joining us today. I've got a few sort of general updates before I hand over to Vicky. It's Remembrance Week this week, hence wearing our poppies. And obviously we're honouring those who have served to defend our freedoms and our way of life, and it unites across all faiths, cultures and backgrounds, and remembers service and sacrifice of the armed forces community from Britain and the Commonwealth. And here at Sherwood, we're very proud to support our veterans and our active armed forces personnel. We always mark Armistice Day service and honour the 2-minute silence across our estates in respect to the sacrifices made by our armed services. So that happens on as we know, the 11th of November. So that's Friday at 11 AM, and we're planning to hold a short act of remembrance across in each of our 3 hospital sites. So if you want to gather at 5 to 11, it'll be complete by about 5 past once we've had the 2-minute silence. And at King's Mill, that will be in the main entrance. At Newark Hospital, it will be in the glass corridor outside outpatients, and at Mansfield Community Hospital, that will be in the main entrance. So gather around about 5 to 11 on Friday. Oh, and it's available on TV for all patients to access. So if you could remind patients who want to join that silence, then they can tune in using their bedside devices. Next up, we've got an essential upgrade to the Careflow system that's taking place tomorrow. That's the 9th of November, and that will take place approximately between 6 PM and 10 PM. Please ensure you leave PCs and laptops switched on when you finish work, if you can, and if you are a service or a department that's operating overnight, please ensure that you close Careflow before 6 PM. and then refer to your business continuity plans. If you've got any questions about the upgrade, please contact Jackie Lynham, the Medway PAS manager, and Jackie's email address is jackie.lynham@nhs.net. And I think Jess will be able to give you that in the chat. Lastly, is a weekly shout out to encourage everyone to receive their flu and COVID vaccinations. Thank you to everyone who has accessed vaccinations so far. We know that over 40% of you have had your flu jabs, and we know we can do better because we've done better in previous years. We really want to make sure that everyone is protected. A shout out to the Women's and Children's Division again this week, who remain with their highest uptake so far, and that's nearly 47% in that division, so well done. You can receive your flu jab by dropping into one of the clinics that is now on screen, or indeed to the vaccination hub. Peer vaccinators on most wards, and they can provide you with the flu vaccination as well. You can book appointments for either the COVID or the flu jab. Hopefully that will be in the chat as well. And don't forget, colleagues who receive your flu jab will also be given a free meal voucher to be used in the Spice of Life restaurant, and also be entered into a monthly prize draw. Clearly, flu is on the increase in the community and indeed in the hospital. COVID's not going away, so it's really important that you get vaccinations to protect yourself, protect your team, protect your family, and most importantly, protect our patients. Okay, so as I suggested, we'll hand over to Vicky for another one of our usual weekly updates through October and November, and that's for the National Staff Surveys. So over to you, Vicky.
Thank you, Paul, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having me on Trust Brief. As Paul said, I feel like a bit of a regular now, bringing you your weekly staff survey update. And you may be pleased or relieved to hear that we're coming up now towards the end of our staff survey window. So we've got about 2.5 weeks left. The survey closes on Friday, the 25th of November. But those of you who've had paper copies, obviously you need to take into account getting those back in the post by Friday the 25th. So I would say probably end of next week, very early the week after is crunch point for colleagues with paper surveys. If you could please make every effort to get those back in the post. Colleagues receiving their survey by email have a few days extra until Friday the 25th. But just to update you, so I'm really pleased to share that over 2,500 colleagues at Sherwood have now had their voice through the staff survey, which feels a real milestone for us. And that's 45.5% of our workforce. We would love to end the survey closer sort of up into the 60% or so of our workforce. So those of you who haven't yet had your voice, if you could take the time to do so, we would really, really appreciate it. We've said all along, actually, what matters to us is hearing from people. If we don't hear from you, we don't understand the changes that we might need to be made, or we don't get the opportunity to shout out really good areas, because actually we do see lots of lovely stuff in the survey as well about teams and areas that are doing really, really well. So please, if you haven't had chance, please do. Those of you with paper surveys, you should get your final reminders with a fresh copy of the survey over this week. They landed on site yesterday, so they've gone out to the teams to be distributed. So fear not if you put it in your bag and you can't find it, or you spilt coffee on it, that final copy should be winging its way to you, and hopefully you're able to complete that for us. If you still haven't seen your survey and you think that you should have, it's not too late. Please do get in touch with me. I can help you find it, whether that's to an email address where it might have accidentally gone into your junk, or whether it might have got mislaid from a paper copy. But I'm here to help, so please do get in touch if you or any of your teams haven't been able to find it yet. I know everyone loves a bit of competition, so I thought I'd run down how the divisions are doing as well. So leading the way is our surgery division, well done surgery, so 55.9% of colleagues in surgery, closely followed by corporate colleagues, 55.2%. UEC next with 52%. Now UEC and surgery are always very competitive against each other, so I'm sure that will spark a bit of competition. Women's and children's at 40.2%. Diagnostics and outpatients 38.5%, and medicine at 32.8%. Really recognise how challenging it is operationally in lots of these areas, so we would just really encourage wherever possible to support staff to have their voice heard. And then the final thing I wanted to share a couple of bits about some of the initiatives that we're running alongside our staff survey this year, just to say thank you for getting involved. So our first one of those, Jess, I don't know if you can share the screen. Earlier this morning, I inputted all of the teams who were part of our Club 50. So we announced Club 50 last week, where any team that by Monday this week were at 50% or over were entered into a random draw generator, and I filmed it as proof. Everyone likes to see it happening. So Jess, if you can press play, and hopefully this will work. Looks like it's going a little slow actually, but there's all the teams going through, and our winners were the Case Note store at Newark. So well done, Case Note store. I will be in touch with you to let you know about your prize for Club 50. And then finally, just to share today, and you'll see some information come out on the Facebook group and in Trust Brief on, the bulletin on Thursday, is we are also going to be awarding a divisional prize this year as well. So there'll be a prize available per division to the team with outstanding achievement in the staff survey. Now that might be that actually you've just improved loads on your engagement from last year. It might be that for the third year running you managed 100% or something like that. So there'll be a winner in each division, just to sort of share the love and say thank you for everything you've done to engage with the survey. And I think, Paul, that is it from me on survey this week.
Thanks, Vicky. Lots in there. Most important is have your say. Don't miss the opportunity to tell us what's working and what isn't. It's really important that we understand how you're feeling, what's working for you and what we need to improve on. Well done to Newark Case Note store. for winning this week. There's lots of other prizes on offer, so lots of inducements to get this done. Well done to Sergio for being out front. I think corporate were leading the way previous to that, from my memory, Vicky, if that's right. So well done, Sergio. Yeah, so really important. We've got until the 25th of November, but as Vicky says, if you've got a paper copy, you need to get that in. When's the when do you think that the sort of last date for posting those are, Vicky?
So I think really ideally by the end of next week, I'd say, Paul, probably next Friday, but maybe into the Monday, Tuesday at the very, very latest, I would say. We know there's postal strikes that are wreaking havoc as well. So yeah, those final copies are going out, should be winging their way, and the sooner the better that you can get those in, really.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you. If you've got any questions for Vicky, then post them in the chat as soon as you possibly can, because I know Vicky's got to move on to something else. So anyone got any questions or comments, then please post them in the chat, either on the staff survey or anything that we're covering today. Thank you for that, Vicky. No doubt we'll touch base again next week on Staff Brief for that final push.
We will. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving to Talk Money and Stress Awareness Week, and we've got with us Corinne Kitchen, part of our wellbeing team. So over to you, Corinne.
Thank you so much, Paul, and hi everyone. Yes, so this week is a little bit of a double whammy week, and I'm really happy to talk about this. It's, as Paul mentioned, it's Talk Money Week this week, and it goes hand in hand with Stress Awareness Week. And I think the talk of finances and money is always a difficult one. I think it's also a personal one, and I think with the current situation, with our changes of energy prices, council tax, general cost of living, it's really pertinent that we're talking about this now. I've got a little bit of a stat from some research that was done, and it shows that 1 in 3 of us are say thinking about our finances and money causes us worry. Just that general conversation causes us some worry and just gets that heart pounding, and you know, whether it's a big thing, whether you know you've got a big sudden change in your circumstance, whether you're experiencing some debt or finding problems with finding money, but also it's those small things, I think, that are also the big things. So a massive kind of part of this week is to celebrate us, to encourage colleagues and one another to talk about it. It's not easy, but I'm kind of going to touch on a few kind of places where you can go to get that support. One of the things that we're doing here at the Trust is we've got a Slido just to kind of share some like top tips about how we save money. I will once I've kind of finished. I'm not very good at multitasking, but so I will pop it once I've finished in talking in the chat. It's just a little bit of kind of supporting one another. I think sometimes those small tips can make a big difference. I don't mind sharing that I am a slow cooker fan. I use my slow cooker a lot, mainly because I've got a husband that can't cook very much and children that are a little bit picky. But I've also discovered that using your slow cooker can actually save you money. It doesn't cost as much to run your slow cooker as it does your oven. So that's just a little top tip from me. But what we're going to try and do is to collate that on a Slido and share that in the bulletin as well. So any little things, big things, please share. Either use the chat or I'll pop the Slido in, and we'll obviously kind of collate that. So what else is there for Talk Money Week and Stress Awareness Week? There is a VivUp Benefits webinar tomorrow. I believe we've already shared this in the bulletin. Those that could kind of already know what VivUp is, but for those that don't, it's our employee assistance programme. They do such a wide range of support for you, but one of them is in particular is this webinar. And the topic for tomorrow, I can actually, if I I will try and pop the link in the chat for people that haven't seen it. It's at 12 o'clock tomorrow, just for half an hour, and it's talking through things like how to access the cycle to work schemes. What is it? How do you do it? But also cashback cards, how that can help you. It's those things that we can do that can help make our financial situation a little bit less stressful. A couple of other things that are kind of going on. I have just double checked. It wasn't shared in the bulletin last week even. We've got a couple of courses run by Affinity Connect on pre-retirement. So you can see all the joining instructions on those in the bulletin. And one in particular is about understanding your pensions. And the complexities that can bring. So you know, if that is on your worry list, please join one of those courses, and that might kind of answer some of those worries. Just got my little list here. I'm just making sure I've checked everything. Don't know whether anybody's heard of Money Helper before. It's amazing. You will have probably seen the bright pink posters in the permanent wellbeing boards around the 3 sites. That is your Money Helper poster. It's got their contact number on there. They do such a wide range of support on everything financial wellbeing. So they've got budget calculators. If you're feeling a little bit snowed under with bills, or just there's lots of things coming in and you want to make some headway with it. Some tips if you want to speak to an advisor. I'd strongly recommend kind of having a look at the Money Helper website. They have a support line, and they have a WhatsApp line as well, because sometimes it's not easy. That's what we're saying again, it's not easy to talk about this, but that's another avenue. And I know going on a call yesterday, they also have an online chat function as well. So there's different ways you can reach out for that support. Part of that is they've got a debt advisor as well. So if that's something that you want, that you feel that you want to talk to, there's that as well. All of those links are in the bulletin, but it's also on the wellbeing website as well. And we've got a dedicated section for all your financial wellbeing support in there. So, but I will pop them in, but key numbers in the chat. Final thing from me, I just wanted to mention Citizens Advice. I don't know whether many people have heard of Citizens Advice before, or whether you've had connections with them. They are another brilliant resource that are a very compassionate and understanding organisation, and you can go to them on topics of, do you feel that you're on the right benefit? Do you want to know whether you're entitled to some of the benefits? Are you experiencing that general worry about debt? Are you in a certain circumstance with your landlord? Have you experienced, I don't know, you've got a contract from a builder and they've not done a very good job, and what to do following that? They can offer all sorts of support. We're very lucky to have a connection with the Ashfield branch, and they're able to do some drop-in sessions. But sorry, I call them drop-in sessions. They're coming to Kingsmill at the last Tuesday every month at the moment. The next one is the 29th of November, and they're here 9 till 12. You will need to kind of book a session for that, but again, that is in the bulletin and how you can do it. Sadly, I know that is just at Kingsmill at the moment, but I wanted to really make the point of that is for absolutely everybody. Please give them a ring if you need any support. If you can't find that number, message me. I will give you that number. And they also will take appointments at their office as well. Have I said everything that's on my list? Just a last message, just to say it's okay to talk about these things. If it's causing you anxiety, if it's causing you stress, or actually it's just something in here that's really bothering you, there's lots of support out there. There's myself and Amy in the wellbeing team. Please do reach out if you need that support. And so I think that's everything from me, Paul, but happy to take any questions at any point.
Thanks, Corinne. Really important message in there. Lots and lots of signposting there. So is all that in one place? Will that all be in the bulletin? It's
in two places to try and cover all avenues. It's in the bulletin from last week. It'll be in this week's as well. What we've done is, if people don't know where all the wellbeing resources are, it all sits on the Sherwood Forest internet page. But if you're on site, go on the intranet. As you open it up, you've got your purple icon. Everything wellbeing is purple, as you can see with the background. Click on there. All the wellbeing materials are there, and on the left-hand side, look for financial wellbeing, and it's got all the links that I've mentioned and more. And it's got all interactive hyperlinks and the contact numbers and the times they're open. So yeah, it's there for you.
Thank you. Really clear. So intranet's got everything, bulletin as well. And just on that slow cooker you were mentioning earlier, apparently the microwave is even cheaper than the slow cooker. And I did catch a bit. Did you see that Jamie Oliver programme last week, Meals for £1?
Oh,
and he actually did. Yeah, you watch it on playback. He actually manages to make curry and rice in the microwave. Who knew?
Wow, you know what?
And not just warming it up. I don't mean that. I mean, he actually cooked it.
You know what? You've reminded me of something, actually. I'm going to have to check whether my mum still has it. She had a microwave cookbook. When I was growing up, I remember finding it. I'm sure she cooked bacon in the microwave. I'm not quite sure about that one personally, but it's another way. I will certainly watch that on playback, Paul.
Yeah, good tip. Thank you for that, Corinne. Don't see any questions of that, or indeed for Jamie Oliver and his use of the microwave. But we'll keep. If you've got anything, any comments or questions for Corinne, then please let us have them through. And whilst you're doing so, I'll hand over to Robyn Goddard, our specialist speech and language therapist, who's going to talk to us about IDDSI. And Robyn, you can say its full title this time. Over to you.
So the IDDSI, or IDDSI, stands for International Dysphagia Diet Standardisation Initiative. And this was an initiative that was introduced across the UK and different countries all around the world, actually, but we started using it in the UK in around 2018. And the idea behind it is that it refers to the descriptors that we use to describe the diets and fluids that we give to our patients with swallowing difficulties. So for our ward colleagues, they would be familiar with things like level 1 fluids, level 2 fluids, level 4 puree diet, etc. So the rationale behind using this terminology is that previous to that, there were lots of vague terms being used to describe patients' food and drink, which has led to patient safety incidents. So one of the terms that's frequently used still today is soft diet. Now, soft could mean anything from a yogurt to a banana to a piece of bread. So you can see where the ambiguity comes in if people are using terms like that, because it can refer to a range of textures. And nationally and locally, actually, there have been patient safety incidents where patients have actually choked and it's resulted in deaths because they've been given the incorrect food and drink, and that can stem from the incorrect terms being used and people not having a universal understanding of what the terms mean. So that's why it's really important that we use the correct terminology to refer to the food and drink that we give to our patients to make sure that we're keeping them safe and reducing any risk of choking episodes. So this week we are doing a training and awareness event, and into next week as well. So we'll be running this for 2 weeks across all of the wards, and that's including the sites at Newark, Mansfield Community Hospital and the Sherwood Community Unit as well. And the purpose is really to raise the awareness of the see the terminology that we should be using and stamping out the term soft diet, using the correct terms to refer to the food and drink so that we all know what we're talking about, and reducing any patient incidents. So to find out when we're visiting your ward, you can ask your ward leaders. All of the schedule has been emailed out to all of the ward leaders. For the wards at Kingsmill, will be in the foyer area outside each ward as you walk in. So we'll have a big banner and probably a table where we will have some resources that we can show to staff. And there'll be a tasting event this Thursday, the 10th of November, and that will be up on level 6, where all staff can drop by and they can see and try some of the food that we offer to our patients. So there's a rep coming in from one of the companies that we use who's going to prepare the food, and you can see the food for yourself. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover about IDDSI from speech and language therapy. So if anybody has any questions, if you can pop them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Robyn. Really important that we have a common language so that we understand that patient safety incidents, as you've rightly said, really important that we get this. So thank you for that really clear explanation, and also where you're going to be in Kingsmill. Will you be at Newark and possibly at Mansfield Community Hospital as well?
Yes, so we'll be at Newark this Friday and Mansfield Community Hospital this Thursday, and we'll also be at the Sherwood Community Unit. I can't remember off the top of my head when that will be, but it's definitely scheduled in that we'll go down there as well.
Brilliant, thank you. So all sites covered. That's great. Thank you very much. Just got one question that was on the back of my general updates at the start of today's session. So I'll just cover that off and see if there are any more coming in. So this is someone who's had a flu jab off-site. How can it be recorded on site? You can do that simply. There's a form that you can access via the intranet that hopefully has now been published in the chat, along with many of the signposting numbers and also links that we've mentioned earlier today. So hopefully you'll see that, but if you can't see the link, just go to the intranet site and download, and you'll be able to do that without any problem at all. And just waiting for any other questions coming in. See any coming in, so I'll start to wrap up, and if any come in, then we'll pick them up as we go. Thank you for joining today. Thank you to Vicky, to Corinne, and to Robyn. Thanks also to Jess in the background, who's the communications wizard that puts all this together and publishes all the information that you see, the links, etc. So thank you, Jess, for keeping me on track and putting all this together. Can't see any more questions coming in, so I'll wrap up there. Thank you again. I hope everyone has a good week. I hope everyone is able to take part in the Remembrance 2 minute silence on Friday. I'll be across at Newark, so I'll see colleagues over there in the glass corridor. So see you all again next week. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.